Bumbleclad. You rasclad banana boy. Bumbleclad me boy. Bloodclad.
Cornish fudge in the house. Honest Rage, Mother Goose, Lauren, Psych Sound Off, Tammy, Michelle, Casey K, love you. Delighted, Beth, Schmorning, Kiska, Schmorning, Laura, hey, Shanti, love you. Lisa, good morning. Jennifer, good money. Dazed and Confused, hey, Mama Buzz, hey, Oxalot, Chrissy, hey, love you. West Virginia, baby. Let me turn this off because here it comes. They're starting with the shit. Here it comes. Oh, shit. I'm getting the calls now and the text. Good morning, ladies. Hey, Carla. Cara Liz. I'm sorry, I've been saying that wrong this whole time. Cara Liz. I'm not. Today is, today my niece comes to get my sister's dogs. She has 3 dogs and a cat. So she's coming to get those. And my sister had a swimming pool, like a floating pool or something in the back. So I'm going over there to take that apart and cut it up into pieces that they'll take. So yeah, that's a thing. Warning from the Thunderdome, baby. Yes, ma'am. I've been. Hold on. I'm hearing some strange dog activity. You know, I'm shook about these dogs over here. This sounded like one was trying to come through the fence. Okay. I'm shook about them dogs. Shanti, I'm glad that you're okay, honey. I'm gonna touch on the 4th step later on today after I take care of my business. We're gonna go over that 4th step. I gotta keep pushing ahead with that because I'm deep into doing my own 4th step. So I would be ashamed to stop there, right? We're not quitters. We're gonna keep going. Anyhow, the title. I've actually went back and I have re-tagged a lot of the videos that I've made lately that have had to do with these people that WJHL there in Kingsport, Rogersville have been given a platform to. You know, we've had people accosted in the worst way by these folks. And last night to the hospital, he checked himself into rehab. Who? Who checked themselves in? Okay, Benny, I watched your step 4 video while my cousin was there the other night, not knowing he's been actively using the last 6 months every single day. He'd been sober for a long time. We took him to rehab last night to the hospital. That's God's work. Hoo-ah, man. Oh, if no one else was helped and just your cousin, praise God. Praise God. God is good. That is so awesome. That's awesome, man. Shanti, we're all here for you. Shanti, what I need you to do is you know what, hun? I didn't realize that you and I had never emailed before. I need you to email me. I need to be able to get in contact with you, and you need to be able to get in contact with me. So, unless I just don't remember, I just went to my email and put in Shanti and it didn't pop up. So unless you've got another one, like I need you to. Can one of you ladies please? There, thank you, Rage. Thank you, Miss Brandy. Good to see you. Teasy. Why is Morticia's captured moment streaming your channel? I don't know. I have no issue with her. I was nasty to her when I was in a place of my journey, because, quite frankly, I have an issue with the mediums. Like, I'm about science, and I have no way of gauging and understanding how Miss Morticia relates to her support group. I don't know, and it was superiorly wrong of me. This will be the second time that I apologize to her openly. Who am I to try to judge someone's expression? Morticia was helpful to me behind the scenes, and she knew what she was, and I'm very appreciative of what Miss Morticia did, and I'll just leave it at that. So I don't know why. Hopefully it's just in support. If it's not, I'm sorry, Miss Morticia. Thank you, Kathy. So we got that on track. Taking the pool down. Casey's cousin. Oh, man, that's good. West Virginia. Praise God. You're welcome, Shanti. West Virginia. You deserve to go through this holiday sober and remember this shit. That is awesome. That is awesome. Kang. That's awesome. So, without further ado, to speak on the topic of the video, I did lightly. I have been all over this internet with an awesome group of guys who have been putting in a lot of work trying to expose the evil in the group of four, the four musketeers. Hey, AF, I hope you're feeling well this morning, beautiful. I'd like to talk to you about, I'll pay you for some of these these art classes, right? Like, teach me, okay? I will pay you for you to show me what I have to do that. I'm very technologically advanced. Anyhow, I need to know that business. If you would please share that with me, I will pay you for the game. Yeah, Shanti, we're doing it. West Virginia, we're doing it, right? You've been doing it. This is what you got to understand. The craving, the science of the craving is this. A craving typically lasts 8 seconds. Look it up. The craving typically in AA standards, we talk about the typical craving being 8 seconds. And so a lot of times in certain rehabs, you'll hear the terminology ride the bull. When you're having a craving, it's riding the bull. If you can last 8 seconds on the bull, anything other than 8 seconds is what they call your obsession. It's your obsession of thinking about whatever it is, substance or whatever it is you're addicted to. If you can make it, listen, West Virginia, what you need, how you can balance that out, honey, as long as you don't have any sugar issues, you can take shots, just call them shots. Take shots of orange juice, and you could even put a little sugar in it. Not a lot, but just a little bit of sugar. And that should help to start balancing you out, because what you're actually having is your body is reacting to the lack of sugar, because we know your pancreas When you take alcohol in, your pancreas converts the alcohol into sugar. Okay, that's it, Oxalot. So if you can make it 8 seconds, and then after 8 seconds you occupy your mind with something else, you can get through a craving. It's no problem. Once you get through 100 cravings, you know what? It's a little bit less. And the next time you get through another 100 cravings, you have more and more and more control. There you go, Don K. You need to get some sugar in you. That's what's contributing to the shakes. B12 and thiamine. Yeah. So I forget the actual sugar code or the scientific breakdown, but the alcohol, your pancreas takes it and it turns it into a sugar compound. And that's how your body filters it, right? Because, and actually, sugar is a mainstay in creating the fermentation process, right? So, it's essentially yeast, sugar, and fruit extracts, right? So all of that contains what? Sugar. So get you some sugar in it, in you, and it'll start to smooth out and balance out. Do things. I don't know how you feel about it, but you have two really strong options. Either do things with your hands so that you can see the shake going down. You can see your shake dissipating, or do things that don't require you to look at your hand shaking. You don't want to jack your sugars up. It's not what you're trying to do. You're trying to level off. So, maybe does that work for drugs? Not really. There are other things that work for drugs. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, guys, if you are dealing with benzo issues, benzos, and thank you, TZ. Thank you. If you're dealing with benzo issues or long-term alcoholism, I do not recommend you to try to detox at home. Those two, the detox can kill you. It can cause seizures, and then the seizures can, grand mal, and then you've got a really bad problem. So if you're a heavy volume alcoholic for long term, you need to have a Librium letdown. You need to have a chemical detox. You don't need to try to go through that at home. As far as benzos are concerned, benzos, you don't try to beat benzos at home either. Benzos will that is the one of the very real side effects of benzo withdrawal is seizures, and you don't want to essentially you don't want to withdraw on benzos or alcohol alone. You don't want to have a seizure alone. So that's why we don't withdraw from alcohol, long-term alcoholism, and benzos for sure. Yeah. Yeah, you had a stroke coming off of Xanax, and that's just it. You cannot play with the benzos. You have to have a chemical letdown. When you start depleting yourself of opiates and benzos and alcohol, a lot of things change in the chemistry of your brain. What are benzos? Xanaxes, Ativan, benzodiazepine. There's many that have. Yeah, that's it. I mean, you just cannot do benzos and alcohol on your own. It is not safe, especially, ladies, if any of us already have underlying pre-existing conditions that throwing our body's chemical balance out of whack could certainly initiate other issues, right? So you're having a withdrawal, and then you have a stroke, you have a seizure or a heart attack, or you bite your tongue off because you're trying to come out. Klonopin. There's so many. Yeah. So let's talk about the title. I'm sorry. Naloxone works good, and I'll tell you what. You also the kratom, if found on your particular dosage, right? If you find that sweet spot in the kratom world, kratom can be, hey, wet my planties. Hey, sorry. No, never be ashamed to reach out. I've already lost 8 pounds. I'm down to 97 pounds now. Never get a prescription for Xanax. Mama Jan, we're going to straighten that out. I promise you. That is one of my missions. We're going to get through that, right? I'm not going to lose you to that shit, okay? That's my promise to you. I'm not going to lose you to that shit. And even if it means I got to come down there to Florida and, you know, we're going to fucking start working on that, okay? And I know you're here when we do these step works, you know, and these step works are so very important. Actually, let me Alcoholics Anonymous. We've got the book right here, right? We're living with it. We're walking with it. Get you a pocket-sized red one, okay? They sell them at all the AA outlets, right? Get you a red book or buy it at your local AA. Get you a red book. Hey, Mama Jan. Mama Jan. Yeah, we got to get this book in us, guys. And we're going to start really getting into, you know, getting deep into this because just like Casey's cousin, right? Like faith without works is dead. So if you're not actively working every single day to get past, I mean, you're safe when you're in the hospital. You're safe. It's when they let you out that you're back in the trenches again, right? You know what we find out is that a lot of times because of state funding, a lot of these great places where there's so much healing going on, they're in the ghetto. And I don't mean ghetto as any terms of socioeconomic or race. I mean, they're down. A lot of times you can leave right out of a rehab against medical advice and find dope as soon as you leave out. That's what I'm talking about, okay? So I'm trying to just find, I'm trying to scan through this and I'm trying to find, well, this will go good right here, actually. See, that's how it works. Chapter 6, okay, page 72. It's called Into Action. So fitting. Just like how I did Don, right? I was like, Don, just flip through the Bible and just drop your finger down somewhere and then read that verse. And I promise you the way God works is that verse, that passage is going to be so specific to what you're going through even today or this hour or this minute. That's the power in it, right? So here we are, chapter 6. I'm going to read the first page. Having made our personal inventory, we're on step 4, right? Right? We're working this step 4, right? With our sex inventory, our fear inventory, and our resentment inventory. That's our personal inventory, our searching, fearless, and moral inventory, right? So, having made our personal inventory, what shall we do about it? We have been trying to get a new attitude, a new relationship with our Creator, and to discover the obstacles in our path. We have admitted certain defects. We have ascertained in a rough way what the trouble is. We have put our finger on the weak items in our personal inventory. Now these are about to be cast out. Did you hear that? That's the catharsis. That's the emotional purging. That's the emotional flooding. And we talked about the flooding, it's only emotional flood if you're intelligent enough and you have a restraint so as that you don't go way deep into it, right? You can flood correctly and touch all those weak points in your mind so that when they happen, or if they don't happen, but you're arming yourself for when they happen. Right? Like we talked about, if you're in an adulterous situation, right? Say your husband's cheating on you, ladies, or has cheated on you, and you're thinking of all the crazy things that they could have done. Well, you don't want to hear from him what they've done until you've touched all of those really sensitive, delicate corners of your soul and your mind. So then when you hear about it, you're not like, oh my God, they did it in the car.
You've already armed yourself with the fact they did it in your car. So what? Move on, right? That's flooding, right? So now these are about to be cast out, it says. This requires action on our part, which, when completed, will mean that we have admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being, because we know where there's two or more, God is present, right? So, this requires action on our part, which, when completed, will mean that we have admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our defects. This brings us to the fifth step in the program of recovery mentioned in the preceding chapter. This is perhaps difficult, especially discussing our defects with another person. We think we have done well enough in admitting these things to ourselves. There is doubt about that because we are master manipulators, right? In order to sufficiently lie to someone else, you have to lie to yourself first. You have to make a deceitful commitment to yourself that you're going to continue on believing the bullshit that you want other people to believe, right? So, while we believe we have done well enough in admitting these things to ourselves, there is doubt by everyone else. Because we lie to ourselves and we think we've done a good appraisal. It's only when you share that with God and someone else do you realize if you've been successful or you still, maybe you've missed the mark, the trajectory is off, right? So, in actual practice, we usually find a solitary self-appraisal insufficient. That is for the people who constantly put themselves down and they feel like, oh well, maybe my sponsor, maybe Benny thinks this is a good enough self-appraisal, but I don't think it is. Or you see it and you feel like I'm such a piece of shit because of my self-appraisal. This isn't enough. I have to be way worse than this. Or, I'm better than what this is on the paper, right? That's why there's doubt, right? Many of us find it necessary to go much further. We will be more reconciled to discussing ourselves with another person when we see good reason why we should do so. Does that make sense? Okay. The best reason first, if we skip this vital step, we may not overcome drinking. If you don't allow someone else to sort of let you know you've reached the checkpoints, you will fuck yourself over again as quickly as you got to step 4. You'll be back asking someone to believe that you believe that your life is become unmanageable and that a God of your understanding could restore you to sanity, right? Izzy Pop, my oldest son has been clean for 3 years. Heroin and pills, that's God's work, right? Time after time, newcomers have tried to keep to themselves certain facts about their lives. Trying to avoid this humbling experience, they have turned to easier methods, which always leads you back to drinking or doing drugs or fucking off, doing whatever it is that's not good for your life, but you can't seem to stop doing it. Almost invariably, they get drunk. I know this book. Having persevered with the rest of the program, they wonder why they fell. Because they didn't do a searching and fearless moral inventory of their fears, their resentments, and their sexual indiscretions. We think the reason is that they never completed their house cleaning. 4th step is house cleaning. So is the 9th step. And the 8th step. They thought they had lost their egoism and fear. They only thought they had humbled themselves, but they had not learned enough of humility, fearlessness, and honesty in the sense we find it necessary until they told someone else all of their life story. Let me show you. I know it's backwards, guys. All is in italics. That is what I'm showing you here. All means all. All doesn't mean just the things that we cherry pick out of the program that we're like, oh, those are easy, or I can do those right now. You ever heard of writer's block? Yes. Writer's block is a real thing when you're dealing with the fourth step. Writer's block is the inability for the reader in your mind to accept what the writer in your mind is writing. That's writer's block. When everything runs smoothly, Rage knows. She just posted about this. John Mayer said it. Writer's block, or a mental block, is when the writer in your mind isn't writing an acceptable script for the reader in your mind, and you become blocked. Okay? So in the fourth step, if you encounter writer's block, which many do, it's an actual, because you're spending so much time writing and you get to a point where you can't write anymore, but we all know you can. The things probably that need to be on that paper are the things you have not put on it yet once you reach that point where the writer in your mind isn't writing an acceptable script for the reader in your mind. Mine is not for addiction or substance abuse. Never used my meds, but I am crippled without it. I have a bunch of physical and UCA rheumatologist. Got to do what you got to do.
God made us.
Yeah.
It's all an illness.
That's it. But they had not learned enough of humility, fearlessness, and honesty in the sense we find it necessary until they told someone else all. All is all. Guess what? Think of it in terms of like this if you're still suffering. If you take one shot out of a bottle of whiskey, is that still all? Is that an all bottle of whiskey? No, that's not the way you look at it, is it? It's not complete. Something is missing. It isn't all of itself. Okay. More than most people, the alcoholic addict leads a double life. He is very much the actor. He is, or she is, very much the actor. To the outer world, he presents his stage character. This is the one he likes his fellows to see. He wants to enjoy a certain reputation, but knows in his heart he or she doesn't deserve it. The inconsistency is made worse by the things he does on his sprees. Maybe you get drunk or you get high and you go and you go to strip clubs or you mess with hookers or whatever. The inconsistency is made worse by the things he does on his sprees. Coming to his senses, he is revolted at certain episodes he vaguely remembers. And so now he's built what? Another resentment with himself. And in this resentment of himself, what do we know about resentment? It's the number one offender. It's the chief offender. Resentment and fear are the reasons we drink and drug, right? It's the very reason we drink and drug. We are ashamed or embarrassed of the things we know we did last time we fucked up, or the time before that, or maybe we do the same thing every time we fuck up. We get involved in debaucherous, sexually depraved shit, or whatever it is. But mind you, when you're doing your fourth step, there's a reason why 1/3 of the complete package of the fourth step has to do with your sexual behavior. Because a lot of us, we offend against our partners or our lovers. Maybe offend is the wrong word. We infract. Okay? We infract in a sexual nature against our partners. Okay? I'm going to read a little bit more. And then I have to move on to the title. These memories are a nightmare. The things you did in your last drunk or your last binge, they're fucking nightmares. They're the shit that you hope you don't have to do. They're the things that you're like, oh God, I can just do it again this time, but I won't do the really extreme shit that it leads me to every single time. Let me tell you what, if you think you can control it this time, well, next time you're going to cut up twice as bad. Okay? Here we go. He trembles to think someone might have observed him. I'm going to step back. Coming to his senses, he is revolted at certain episodes he vaguely remembers. Oh, we remember. These memories are a nightmare. He trembles to think someone might have observed him. As fast as he can, he pushes these memories far inside him. He hopes they will never see the light of fucking day. He is under constant fear and tension that makes for more drinking. That's for today. Yeah. See how it's circular? How it's perpetual? Oh yeah. I can drink like regular people today. And then at about 12 o'clock this evening, when I figure out that I can't drink like normal people and I'm with 6 hookers and I got $1,000 worth of drugs on the table, and I got Christmas getting ready to go down, and here I am, I'm here fucking up on my family's money. And then today, we're ashamed of it. And because we're ashamed of it today, it's the reason why we reoffend. It is called a substance recidivism. If you don't do the work when you are in prison and when you get out directly, recidivism is what you have to look forward to. That means going back to something that hurts you. You want to be involved in the recidivism rate? Then don't do the fucking work that it takes to stay sober. Deanna, that's what addictions, now substance issues, 8 or 9 times out of 10, they have a sexual dysfunction that's tied to them. You get drunk and you want to fuck at the end of the night, right? Or you're looking, or what is it, beer goggles, right? You do cocaine, you want to have sex. You do meth, you want to have sex. You do heroin, you do it long enough and it becomes a sexual thing. You do meth or ecstasy or any of them. Some people smoke marijuana and they become very aroused. They're all aphrodisiacs. They all give you a feel-good release that mimics the feel-good release when you have sex or when you do narcotics. Right? The science of addiction is that cocaine so very closely resembles the feel-good release in your brain, our brains, that we get from alcohol, that people that are alcoholics sometimes have also dealt with cocaine issues or crack or shooting cocaine. Right? It's like, oh, you have a drink, got to go to the coke house. Or you find yourself, I just want to do a little coke tonight, and then boom, you're on a drunk. They're so closely related in the way that your brain filters them and deals with them that's where this thing called polyaddiction, right? So let me explain to you what a polyaddict is. A polyaddict would be a crackhead who also shoots, smokes, or sniffs a little heroin, but's got to have a beer in the mix too. It's got all three to complete the fantasy, and you add a mental illness, because a mental illness is usually what precipitates all the others. So you have poly problems. On the axis, you're fucked. On the medical axes, you will be fucked. What do they say? 4% of heroin addicts recover. 1% of sexual addicts recover. It is stacked against you. The book, the fight, the battle, the war is stacked against you. How you gonna beat it? Are you starting to become more and more and more comfortable with that fucking monkey that's on your back? You're so comfortable, you want a monkey for each shoulder, don't you? You want to get weighed down by the things that you can cast away so easily. Nicole, we fucking recover. We recover. You want to know what? I hold a different phenomenon in my life. I am recovered. You don't have to believe me. You don't, or you could believe me. I'm recovered. I was a shipwreck. I was at the bottom of the fucking sea. Like the Titanic. Once you've been pulled from the bottom of the sea, you are recovered. I'm recovered. Now, just because you're recovered doesn't mean that you're fucking useful. It just means you're recovered. Some people have to stay in recovery forever. Some people have to constantly work every day to keep their ship and their crew above water. Because when you think of your life in terms of a ship, you sink, or you float or sink or swim. The world is cutthroat. The world will watch you sink. They will watch you flail for help and roll right on past you. Most of them. The ones that will stop are the ones you need to embrace. Yes, you need to be like water. If there is obstacle, let me tell you what. Water will go underneath the door. Let's say what you need is on the other side of that door, but you can't, with all of your best thinking, figure out how to unlock that door. You become fluid in your life like water. So then there's nothing that's off limits. You can get into anything in life you want. It's all in your mind space and your heart space. We will recover. If you're breathing right now, you've been recovered. Recovery, let me tell you what, the phenomenon of recovery. Recovery can be an event or it can be a process. There is there is no set process to recovery like there is grieving. That's the phenomenon of the bounce back, right? Everyone is going to fall the same way. It's the bounce back it's the comeback. It is so inspiring. It's the bounce back, right? It's the get knocked down 7, get back up 8. Don't you know that when you get back that 8th time, standing on your 2 feet, consuming fluids, it is at that point you have a fucking story to tell. We need everybody to get knocked down. If you're down right now, stand the fuck up. Stand up for yourself. You are worth it. Guess what? There may be some of us here that love this little girl Summer more than we love ourselves, to kick ourselves out of to cast off our addictions. And let me tell you what, in the real world, you cannot love Summer Wells if you do not love yourself. And that's the fucking hard, cold facts. You cannot be useful during a plane wreck unless you put your breathing apparatus on first. It doesn't say lean across and hook the air up to your 2 kids first. It doesn't matter who is sitting next to you. It could be the Pope. It says give yourself air first, and then you can help someone else breathe. Right? You have to be that way in life. Yes. Break it down to the simplest thing. I mean, anything. Say you're taking a shower. I'm going to be honest with you. I got a 3-year-old. Man, it's just easier for me to take a shower with him. So we shower. When we get out, I dry myself first. Quickly, but I dry myself. And then I dry him. Because he can't dry himself. And I can't dry him effectively if I'm chattering in freezing cold. I can dry me off quicker and then get straight to him. I can take care of me way quicker. If I do him first, I suffer longer. Right? Or I'm cold longer. You take care of yourself first and then deal with anything else, even your kids. It says, we know the biblical clock. The biblical clock is this. Ladies, you're supposed to love Jesus first. Then your husband or your wife. Whatever's your thing. You love Jesus first, then your wife, then your kids, and then everything else last. So you could officially say God is number 1, your husband is number 2, and everything else is last. Everything else is last. There is no more importance. You would have to place no more importance on your children than you would mowing the lawn, because 1 and 2 is in the right place. So 3, 4, and all the way to a zillion is already covered by God. Now, that is enough about that. We're almost at 45 minutes. And we'll continue this later on after I take care of my business. We have to look at the title and the topic of this video. Now, when we are thinking in terms of, and I'm going to proper tag this for WJHL. You guys feel free to go to WJHL and share this. Clip channels, cut this part out here and give this to WJHL. Just go let them know in their comments that this is what we want them to see. So, as a reputable news outlet, and as a hypothetical citizen, a resident of the state of Tennessee, you serve as a media outlet the interest of fucking Tennessee, Eastern fucking Tennessee, WJHL. And what you allowed to have happen is, see, all the Tennesseans, they are pissed at the way all these people call them hicks and hillbillies and country bumpkins. The people you serve with your shit. Chrissy F., go tell WJHL, fuck you. Tell them to release Ansley Adams from the slavery they have her oppressed under now. Because let me tell you what WJHL program director allowed to have happen is he allowed those fucking leech, bottom-feeding sodomites, all of them racist, all of them ex-felons, he allowed them to come and get a platform where he allowed those fucking idiots to spew shit like, we are here to pick up the clues the investigators missed. We are talking WJ the fuck HL. We're talking about the same group of people that first found a water bottle in the Gabby Petito case, found a butcher knife in the Kathleen Moore case, and then found a plastic knife, conveniently, all of these planted in places where they're telling people they're there and they have put their life at risk. And there seems to always be some sort of fucking piece of evidence they pick up with their hands. And let me tell you what, Blowjob Betty, you told people on Molly Go Lightly's 2 fucking days ago that you had to go to Pasco County and submit your fucking DNA because you picked up that cocksucking butcher knife at Kathleen Moore's spot, right? Well, let me tell you what, you lying fucking bitch. You're a felon. And in the state of fucking Florida, as a felon, your DNA is already on fucking record, you lying bitch, you. You didn't just go to Pasco County and give them some DNA. What you actually did is you fucking lied to these people because your DNA is already on the fucking file. And so for you to come here and say last night, oh, I had to go to Pasco County and submit my DNA. You lying fucking bitch. Your shit is already in the CODIS, you lying motherfucker, you. You lying bitch, you. I tell you right now, every single place that these fucking idiots show up, they are going to have their hands in DNA on a potential piece of whatever the fuck they want you to believe it is. WJHL, I challenge you to go do some fucking research on those 4 idiots and rerun something that suits the taste and the truth of the fucking people that live in Tennessee. You motherfuckers, you. You're sorry individuals. And I'll tell you who it is. It's the fucking program director there. That motherfucker, let me tell you what he did. He forced Ansley Adams to put an intro and to put a fucking voice narrative to that bullshit that they shot at Molly Go Lightly's, and she didn't want to fucking do it because she is closer to the family. They forced her in that position, and I'll probably be in trouble for saying that. Fuck them. I know the inside track there. They're making Ansley Adams do that shit. You want to know why? Because WJHL is also only concerned about viewership. That's what pays the fucking bills there. Viewership, ratings. We are in sweeps month, right? Yeah. So we cover all the most salacious shit, right? Now, I'll tell you what they did. And this is what they think the offset is. And I'm going to put it into perspective right here, and I'm going to jump the fuck off of here before I get irritated and somebody comes out here and they're like, Ben, what are you... This is the fucking deal. WJHL plays these shitty little fucking games, and it's called offset media. And that may not be the actual definition, but that's what I call it. Offset media. Okay? What that means is they'll do some shit like give Molly Go Lightly a platform, and then because they didn't do their research about who these people were before they sent their cameraman and fucking investigator over there, they have to do a piece of offset media where right after they give Molly and them a fucking platform, the way they clean it up is by publishing something that says, oh, mother of Summer Wells, due to file charges on trespassing YouTubers. That's not a fucking offset. An offset is to come on and do your due diligence and expose the fucking people you lied to your Tennessean viewers about. You motherfuckers, you. Have a great day. I love you all. I'll be back.